gifts of the Magi. The story of the Magi's visit to the Christ child from the Gospel of Matthew is one of my favorite parts of the Nativity narrative. While tradition says there were 3 Magi, or Wisemen, we don't really know how many of these learned Gentiles made the trek, following the star to worship the one born King of the Jews. But we do know, as Bible teacher Warren Wiersbe puts it, that when the caravan arrived in Jerusalem, there were enough of them to trouble the whole city. And we know that it especially vexed Herod the Great, called King of the Jews by Rome, who was a ruthless and insecure politician. However many there were, these men were scholars, astrologers, and scientists who studied the movement of the heavens. They were likely from Arabia, or, quite possibly, they were Zoroastrians from Persia, modern-day Iran. What we do know from the Bible is that they brought 3 symbolic gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Let's look at each of these and their significance. Gold is a symbol of kingship, representing Christ's royalty. It was mined on the Arabian Peninsula for 3,000 years before the time of Christ. Gold is valued for its luster, beauty, malleability, and resistance to rust and tarnish, and is often used to represent immortality and divinity. Gold symbolizes Jesus as both God incarnate and King on an everlasting throne. Frankincense, or incense, was burned in the temple by the high priest, offering a fragrant aroma pleasing to God. The burning of incense is indicative of prayer and worship. Frankincense is a dried resin from the sap of boswellia trees grown in Arabia. It is used in perfumes, incense, and has many medicinal properties. Also symbolic of holiness and righteousness, frankincense represents not only Christ's role as our high priest, but also his willingness to be a sacrifice for our sin. Myrrh symbolizes bitterness, suffering, and affliction, and is related to death and burial. It is the resin from the sap of the camphora tree found in Arabia, and was used as a sacred oil for anointing priests, kings, and most especially the dead. This spice was used in incense, perfume, medicines, and when mixed with wine, myrrh became a potent painkiller called gall, which was offered to and refused by Christ at his crucifixion. Myrrh represents the life purpose of Christ by prefiguring his death. The Magi traveled an incredible distance in search of the child foretold by the Hebrew prophets, not even their own religion, some 500 or more years before. Following a heavenly body, they eventually made their way to Bethlehem, their caravan laden with gifts of immense value. Matthew says, "On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Opening their treasures, they presented him with gifts: gold for a king, frankincense for a priest, and myrrh for his death." How long would you study? What gift would you bring? How far would you travel in order to worship Christ the King?